Good morning, everyone. I'm Nick from Defined Life. This is our daily 10 a.m. Define My Day live session where we answer your questions and talk about, random stuff going on. So, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you hanging out. It is a beautiful Saturday. I am looking forward to getting out and getting some fresh air. Lynn wants to do a lot of yard work. And while it's we're in a weird situation. I'm looking forward to doing a lot of yard work in the new place. I don't want to do yard work here. I feel like it's I don't know. I feel like it's going the wrong way. I don't know, something about it. I'm just not motivated right now. But I'm like looking forward to all the projects I get to do at the new place. So hoping that that gets resolved and done ASAP. And it's really weird now because we have a Samsung washing machine and dryer that I bought Lynn. I won't say for our anniversary because that would seem odd, but like around that time, it was something that we agreed that we wanted to put money toward. So yeah, but that was only 2 years ago. The stuff is 2 years old, and the dryer has broken once, and the washing machine broke shortly after the warranty expired, and now appears to be broken again. Um, and these things, they're the high efficiency ones, not inexpensive. They weren't the priciest ones. I would say middle of the road. But I will never buy another Samsung appliance again after this. We had a dishwasher that was awful. We have these two uh, laundry machines, and they are garbage, absolute garbage. So now we're talking about doing yard work today, and we're not sure we're going to be able to wash our clothes, and most of our clothes are packed. We have like limited options unless we start unpacking boxes again. So I don't know what to do. I certainly don't want to buy a new washing machine this week. Not wasn't on the top of my list of things to spend money on. So we'll see. We'll see. First world problems, right? Kathy. Well, first of all, let me go. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, Livy. Good morning, Brenda. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Deborah. So, Kathy, is it under warranty? No, it's not. In fact, the last time it broke, it wasn't under warranty, and we got a one-time extension to fix. Like it was like the clutch and motor. It was like $1,000 fix on a washing machine that did not cost that much. So they did cover that after we argued about it, but it was like a one-time exemption. So now the next thing we're going to be on the hook for. My Citibank Visa does extend warranties, but then you're claiming things, and if another repair is going to cost $800, and if something happens, the credit card finds a way to not cover it. I don't know, but I would be really upset if I pay for a repair and it doesn't get covered by the credit card's extended warranty platform, and I'm stuck with a junk washing machine that I now invested more money into. So I don't know. I don't know what the right move is. I just started thinking about it last night or this morning because it just happened last night. So one of the things I read is that it's like an error code that's popping up is that if you unplug it for 15 minutes and let it all clear out and then start it, maybe it'll just go away. So we tried that, and Lynn just threw a load of laundry in, and we'll see if that resolves the problem. I don't know. So, God, one thing after another, right? Um, so right, so Patty, I can't agree with this more. So we've been living in this house for 15 years. When we moved in, my dad gave us their old Magic Chef, which I think is like another brand that used to be under the Whirlpool name or something. And it was the old style agitator and the old style dryer, right? And occasionally the dryer would break, like little parts would break, like the blower motor would, or like the blower fan would get stripped out, and I'd replace that. A sensor would go bad, I'd replace that, but they were all like $50, $75 repairs. Now the motor went bad, I replaced that. That was a more expensive one, but and then shortly after that, something else went wrong, and so we decided finally, okay, like this is enough. Like this thing's probably lasted my dad 15 years, probably lasted me 15 years, so it's a 25, 30-year-old dryer. Time to buy some new stuff. Boy, was that a mistake. That was awful. And our appliance guy that used to come in and repair the dryer, he's like, never get rid of it. He said these repairs are gonna be little, but like the thing will last forever. and it probably would have. I could have made like one more repair, and we'd never have another problem. Now I'm dealing with 2-year-old garbage, which is, when you take that out, I mean, how many other people are going through this, and then all the stuff that's getting thrown in landfills because of this, you know, the lowest common denominator washing, appliances in general. Debbie, good morning. It is a spectacular Saturday. It is bright and beautiful. I'm going to be almost 70 today. So looking forward to this. Um, Samsung great TVs, crummy just about everything else. Yep, I agree. And I read a lot of that after we started experiencing problems. Good morning in sunny Mesa, Arizona. 70 degrees at 7 o'clock. Yeah, it's it's again, it's first world problems. There are other people dealing with bigger issues, but it's like, oh man, why right now? So today we're talking about just like we're going to talk a little bit about mental health, chilling out. I got some things I want to share. This is all kind of like from my headspace, and I just saw other people's memes that I just like. Yep, I can relate. So I think I hope you find it funny. But for the most part, I think my feeling like last night. Lynn and I were like, "Yep, let's just mentally check out." We had I made myself a margarita, and it's funny. Pennsylvania tried opening, so they closed down the wine and spirit stores, right? The liquor stores. Beer distributors were open, but for some reason liquor stores weren't. And so, we packed up most of our stuff and just left out like a half a bottle of vodka, like melon vodka that I just wanted to get rid of and never take with me. And then like a half a bottle of scotch. And then Lynn had a couple of bottles of Prosecco. You know, and so for a month, we've just been kind of having a sip on that stuff. Well, so the liquor stores are closed, and then they started this thing where like you could set an appointment and pick up an order if you call ahead on the phone. But I guess apparently that got swamped, and they were also doing online ordering, but we could never get through. So one of Lynn's friends had like a discussion about this on her Facebook page, and somebody found like this back end link that gets you around whatever splash page they were showing, saying that you couldn't order anymore. And Lynn was able to order. You could order 6 bottles of stuff max. And so she ordered, like a bottle of tequila so we could make margaritas, a bottle of vodka so we could make Bloody Marys or something like that, um, and a couple of bottles of Prosecco, hoping that we can pop one of them if we get the new place, right? Or when we get the new place. Um, and that came in last night. So we decided to crack open a bottle, have a nice relaxing night. The boys, and I watched the first round, actually the third round of the NFL draft. We made wings. It was a good time. So we had a good time. But it was like a nice, like, let's just check out, stop thinking, and just have a drink, relax, watch TV. It was a pretty good night. So back to reality this morning, back to cleaning and doing yard work and everything else, right? Pat says crummy appliances repair folks like Speed Queen. See, I agree. Every place I go now, everybody says Speed Queen. Um, I you know I I they're expensive as heck. But yeah, I think it's probably if you're looking to have to not buy anything for the next 20 years again, it's probably the way to go. Good morning, Angel. Yeah, and Debbie, you have a Magic Chef refrigerator over 25 years old and still running. Yeah, like and I think Magic Chef. I don't know what that brand spun off from, or how. Like if maybe I think it was Maytag or Whirlpool bought Magic Chef and maybe absorbed them. I don't know what the scenario was, but everything I've read about Magic Chef was that it was a quality product. There's just a different name on it. Whether it was cheaper or whatever, I don't know. But yeah, I really regret getting rid of that stuff. Liquor stores are still open there. Yeah, and yeah, yeah, it's funny. Like you don't like when you don't have to go out and you don't have to worry about driving and like whatever. Like you just have if you have a glass of wine of night, 2 people. I mean, you're going through a bottle of wine every 2 nights. So we're not even drinking that much. Like we're drinking like 1 or 2 nights a week, but it's pretty easy to go through some stuff pretty quick. You don't realize like normally we don't like. I've had bottles. I've had a half a bottle of scotch in my thing for years. Because you just like have one small drink and that's it. Um, Things change. Yeah, the margarita. I'll show actually. I'll show you a picture of that pretty soon. It was really good. I do it with I have jalapenos in the fridge still, so I muddled some jalapenos in it. But I have a friend. My wife and I have a friend out in California that likes serranos, and yeah, we were having that last fall, and we're just reminiscing a little bit there. They don't make them so you're right. They don't make appliances like that because they lasted too long. Now they're complicated in like really thin metal. The first thing that went wrong with our dryer was that the metal like in the drum started separating from the seam. And the repair guy like three times told me like don't be washing shoes in there. I haven't washed a single shoe. We throw in clothing and that's it. We're not drying shoes in our dryer. But he said it like three times, like that's what he knew I was doing, which really irritated me. But it was fixed. But the metal on the drum is like paper thin. Where on that Magic Chef, I had to take that drum out a couple of times to replace components, and it was like thick, like rolled steel or something. I don't know. Yeah, so the margarita, yeah, it's spicy is awesome, awesome. And I don't even put any of the like, what is it like? Something. There's some kind of liquor that you put in there. I only make it with tequila, lime juice, and simple syrup, and then I throw in some hot peppers. It's amazing. On the rim, I threw some tahini on there and not salt. It's pretty good. Adds a little bit more spice. Kathy just moved 3 weeks ago and got GE appliances. They work great, awesome. GE is the one appliance that I don't think we have anywhere in this house. Um, so Melissa says, I must admit, I frequented our liquors more often than not in the last 8 weeks. One of them, a few things open, used for cooking. I get it. I mean, it's easy. I mean, like it's for one, you do want to kind of numb it a little bit, right? Like not like I don't want to come up. I don't want to say that like we're trying to develop some bad habits here, but like you just need to chill and relax, right? And having a beer before going to sleep is just a nice way to just chill. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If it turns into like anything, if it turns into some extreme bad habit, we have to address it. Hopefully before it gets to that point. But here, us get into our memes and get rolling. So I thought this was appropriate if I haven't shown this already. This show's boring. This is a Zoom conference. I know, I know. And it's funny. This came up in our user group, and right above it, there's somebody that doesn't like Define My Day, and they're selling the book, which is fine. But one woman wrote in the comment, I haven't been able to get started either. His videos are long and boring or something, right? And I'm like, so my thought is this, like if the videos are boring, there are other resources. Like there's written instructions, there's an entire website dedicated to it. Don't don't blame my crummy videos on your success or failure. All right? Like I think and I'm probably preaching to the choir with this group here, but like I know in many areas like we blame like other things, other outside influences for our current experience. Um, if you'll want it to work, you'll make it work. And I'm sorry if I'm boring and I run on. That's just the way I work at the moment. And until I can find somebody to cut and edit my videos, so that I don't have to fumble around for 8 hours a day doing it, then you're gonna have to deal with my long videos. I am not sorry. um, it's great. You're right. It is great sanitizer as well. Also, good morning, Angela. Good morning, Stacy. And people were complaining about paint and garden supplies in Michigan. Our liquor stores never closed. Yeah. Yeah, ours did, and but the beer distributors didn't. I guess because the beer distributors are locally owned, where the liquor stores are owned by the state. So I guess the state kind of looked at it differently. Yeah. It is. When you come out as a hunk, a chunk, or a drunk. Yeah, right. I'm definitely not going to come out as a hunk. I'm not going to come out as a drunk, although I am enjoying it a little bit more than normal right now. I may possibly come out as a chunk, And apropos of that, first let's take a quick detour. New definition of psychopath is a person who wears jeans in their houses during quarantine. Again, I have not thrown on a pair of jeans in a month. I am 100% sweatpants all day, every day. And then to the chunk comment. Uh, Look, there's a health professional online that posted this, and I I just felt this deep inside. um, he's happy, man. He is unbothered. I wish I had that environment right now. That's like my dream grotto right now. I want to be there. I do want to be there. Not necessarily with him, but when maybe like after he's done marinating. I don't know. But then there's also this guy, and I literally had this thought. We ate pizza the other night, and after eating the pizza, I was thinking to myself, man, I just not feeling it. Like just I feel like I should have maybe had some more vegetables or something else. Like I should have abstained and watched everybody else eat the pizza. But then my thought 30 seconds later was, I wonder what's left in the kids' Easter baskets. I mean, it's like this is my exact thought process right here. And then this is the last one, diet related. During quarantine, I've been up trying. During quarantine, I've been trying intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting. Oh my god! So far, I'm up to 12 minutes without eating, and to be honest, I just love seeing the results. Don't we like? And doesn't that? Don't we see that all the time? Like you have, like everybody has this fix, this quick fix. They've been doing it and they feel great, but they've only been doing it for like a day. It's long-term consistency with anything. With anything. Um, I am 2 out of 3 on that one. Going back to the hunk or the drunk or the chunk. Yeah, 2 out of 3. Yeah, marinating. Yeah, dude marinating. He's marinating in there. Um, and then this one, this is so random. Somebody posted this, and this is one of those like blurt laugh, like what? I mean, it's just stupid. Hold up, they ain't no hot tub. Yeah, I don't know. I just it made me chuckle. So this was what we did last night. So we were watching the NFL draft. Any excuse, any football like related thing, we brought out the chicken wings, made some chicken wings from me and the boys, and I made myself a nice tequila. So we in the past had talked about Class A Azul being like an amazing tequila. This Espolón is actually pretty smooth, not too expensive, and threw some jalapenos in there. That one actually, I overdid it. The jalapenos were that one was particularly spicy, and that was a hard drink until the ice melted a little bit to water that down. And then last here we have a Tony Robbins quote that I really liked. Stay committed to your decisions, but stay flexible in your approach. And I think that's really what we need to focus on right now is that, it's right now is a time to be graceful, right? Give ourselves grace. Understand that things are going to change. And I want to take you through this. Lynn sent me this yesterday. Alexis Rockley. I've not heard of her in the past, but I thought these were very good, especially in light of like that Tony Robbins post. And she says, let me be clear. Those all over the place feelings you've been having, they are symptoms of stress, not personal failures of yours. Remember, we're all handling stress differently. We already had a lot of stress, possibly. Now we're adding something else on. We have a limited capacity to deal with it. We can try to exercise our ability to increase that capacity, but you're not going to do it overnight. And eventually things are going to calm down a little bit for you as you become accustomed to the current stress level, right? But it still has a negative impact on your body. So managing it properly is really important. So do you feel flaky or inconsistent? I do. That's because your brain doesn't know what news to brace for next or what next month will hold, right? So that's it. Like we don't know what else is coming down, right? We don't know what the next week and the next month is going to look like. So we're trying to process that. and your brain is reprioritizing the information it's taking in and trying to digest. Also, very important how much information we bring in. If there's nothing new, then we need to try to practice focusing on other more healthy things. Tired easily? That's because your brain is burning your energy 10 times faster than usual, and the brain burns more energy, more sugar than any other organ in your body. Can't seem to focus? That's because your brain has temporarily shut down some functionality in your prefrontal cortex, the part that juggles complex tasks and planning due to the stress response. I see this most in my meditation and reading. Frequently with reading, I will have to read a page or two multiple times before I start to settle down to the point where I can actually focus on it. I'll find myself reading one or two paragraphs, but my brain goes off. It's very much like meditating, right? My brain goes off on a tangent, and I'm reading, but I'm also thinking about something else. So I have to keep going back and reading those. And then after a while, once I read it 2 or 3 times or maybe more, my brain starts focusing on what I'm reading, and then I can go on reading and I can read for a while, right? But it's very important to be aware of that it's very hard to focus right now. It's much easier to distract yourself. So you can look at it as, I need to just give myself some grace, try hard to focus for however long I can, and then take a breath, relax. You don't want to get caught too far in either direction, I don't believe. You got to find where your healthy place is. Feeling creatively blocked, that's because your brain has temporarily diverted all of its creativity, aka the ability to solve novel problems, to how do I avoid dying, while in a narrowed, slow burn, fight or flight state. And so that's very true, right? Like it's hard to be free to think about things in general when you are focusing on, where is my paycheck coming from? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to pay rent? How am I going to pay credit cards? How am I going to get food? I don't want to go outside. Like there's a lot of things going on. So again, you have to give yourself grace. And then suddenly don't give AF about future-based goals, projects, or dreams like you used to. That's because your brain knows being short-sighted is a safer way to cope right now. Right? It's hard to plan for the future, and you can before we leave, it's hard to plan for the future when we have no idea what's happening tomorrow or next week or next month, right? So you have to go into a kind of a crisis mode, and from a business perspective, right? You're not going to invest a whole lot of energy, resources, money working on projects when you're not certain they're going to be able to come to fruition or benefit you. Right now, you're trying to cut costs, you're trying to triage things, right? And the same thing goes in our lives. You don't want to expend energy planning on something when the future is so upside down. So the things you want to decide to plan on are the things that keep you safe, keep you healthy, and you want to try to be ready for when the economy opens back up, for when things get back to normal. That's the way a lot of businesses are looking at things, and I think that's kind of the way we need to run our lives. This is you divide it into two segments. This is what's most important right now, to be safe, to be healthy during this time, and this is what I need to prepare myself for, so that when, we talked about that land grab, right? So that when things open back up, I'm best prepared to get moving ASAP, right? We don't want to have the thing you want to try to avoid is that everything opens back up and I am unhealthy and I am just kind of not prepared to do whatever I need to do, whether it's get a job, reopen my business, get back to work. You want to be prepared in the best way possible. So, but understanding that this is how things are working right now, right? So you don't want to waste energy on things that you aren't sure even going to happen at this point. And then your plans, creativity, energy, focus, and motivation are on yo-yo right now. You feel that? Because your brain believes you need to be extremely adaptive, right? You will not be on this roller coaster forever. Be patient with your brain, sincerely, And then she is a positive psychology certified coach plus fellow human. So, with that, I think you could probably relate with any or all of that, right? And so just being understanding, not being judgmental, try to stick with what you know is healthy for you, while also, trying to let go gracefully of the way things used to be, or the way that you used to be able to do things, and just understanding that times are changing, right? And we have to roll with it, be adaptive. Nice. So Lavi says her fevers are gone, and last night I went straight to the deep freeze for the coffee ice cream. That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with you. You're good. Although I don't know how much caffeine's in that coffee ice cream. I hope it didn't keep you up, but I think that's perfectly fine. Yeah, with or without pandemic. And I would say this, in this, a lot of people, you can take anything like this and use it as a, like, that's just the way I am, and then use it to excuse anything that goes wrong, or you see it as a challenge to, that these are the things that are going to be harder, and you have to work to compensate for that to be as effective as possible. I relate it to like people that say, I have bad teeth, and then like but they don't brush their teeth every night. Like, so if you have bad teeth, then you need to do a better job brushing your teeth than the average person might. If you are naturally like me, naturally, I'm short, naturally a little bit on the heavier side. So if you're like me, then you got to be a little bit extra careful about what you eat and how much you exercise. So we all have things working against us. It's just a matter of saying that, okay, this is my challenge. How do I overcome that? Um, Executive functioning is in the prefrontal cortex. This is where we plan, process, create those metacognitive strategies. That's why DMD isn't easy. And you're right. You're right. And that's why we tell people to back off a little bit, right? Just follow the process, but don't be focusing so far down the road. Try to readjust, bring it a little bit closer. Right now you're trying to be adaptive, but you still want to maintain the priorities, whether it's health or your job or whatever. You still want to have, while it's much shorter range, shorter term, you still want to be able to focus your time and practice that discipline, because when things let off, if you're practicing it now, when things let off, you're going to be much more prepared to launch into whatever you're getting into. Angel says, I also have ADHD, but during the pandemic, it is far worse. And by the end of working for the day, I am exhausted. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are, because you're constantly trying to bring your brain back to focus, right? And again, I think that's exactly what I just said, is that exercise, exhausting now. It's like exercising and working out. It's exhausting now. But when the pressure's off, you should be so much more prepared for what's coming under regular circumstances, right? It's survival of the fittest in a way right now. And you are, like, talk about purpose for pain. That exhaustion, like, look at that, rather than just saying I'm exhausted, or like a lot of people go to the I deserve whatever. I would change that mindset to I'm exhausted. Like, that, what's the benefit to me is that I just practiced under harsh circumstances and I defeated it. And I'm going to be a little bit stronger tomorrow. That's what this exhaustion is teaching me. Meaning DMD takes, so going back to Levy's comment, meaning DMD takes practice and people often need support. Yep. And that's why Define My Day works well for so many people with ADHD and ASD. That's awesome. Alexis is describing how my grief manifested itself when my husband died. Let me go back to Alexis's comment, because I think I might not be remembering that comment. Or we. So you're talking. Okay, you're talking about this. So that's, sorry. Talk about functioning. um, So Alexis is describing how my grief manifested itself when my husband died. So going back through here, right? This is relatable, right? So it's not like this could be used to describe any circumstance, whether it's the loss of a job, the loss of a loved one, to what we're all going through right now. That's very, very, um, very relatable from a lot of circumstances. Um, so Levi, celebratory ice cream rocks. Happier feeling up to doing that. Yeah, 3 days with no fever. That's awesome, Levi. So Sharon says, I'm slowly working through a comment you made last week. Do I want to be a person who does do whatever, or do I want to be the person who doesn't whatever? Right. So in like talking about that concept of every action is a vote for who you want to become. It's very true. Like we're making decisions right now that shape the direction of our lives. No matter how small. Like it's that quote, how you do anything is how you do everything. And it's something we try to get through to my kids all the time. Like when my kid does something cruel in a video game, where he's not supporting a teammate or whatever. It's like, he'll say to me, like if I point it out, he'll say, well, it's only a video game. And I say, well, no, because that's right there is, that's an example of how you support your friends. Like how you do anything is how you do everything. And if you look at like Westworld, if anybody watches that, like people go and do some dark things in Westworld and then come back to real life and they're normal people. Um, they are like you're kind of like even if you're like engaging in something like that in a fantasy world, it's still like part of your personality and you're sort of nurturing it in a way, right? So you got to be aware of that stuff. All right, so yesterday we talked a little bit about like inspiration and some of these books like that we have on our website. So we have these prompting books like the Do One Thing Every Day That Makes You Happy. We have Do One Thing Every Day That Inspires You. We have Do One Thing Every Day Together. We also have Do One Thing Every Day That Centers You, but we're sold out. And then we have Do One Thing Every Day That Scares You. And so I wanted to go through these and kind of give you an example of what these are because I feel like we probably never really talked about it, but like stuff like this can just get a thought happening, right? So I figured I'd go into one of these. I'll go into the Do One Thing Every Day That Scares You. And so one of the examples would be, and what they're just a random thing every day, and you can date it. Like there's no set date on each one of these, so you can randomly go through them, or you can just go next page, which is probably how I would go through it. So the one here is a quote from Andre Gide, maybe. It says, one does not discover new lands without consenting to lose sight of the shore for a very long time. And so there's a checkbox, and it says, today I traveled to, and you could check either a new neighborhood, a new street, a new park, a new land, or the last one is someplace scarier, and there's room to write in whatever your scary place you traveled to today. The next one is a ship in port is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. Okay, let me redo that one. This is Rear Admiral Grace Murray Hopper, and the quote is, a ship in port is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. And then there's a place to write. It says, today I, and you just write in what you did today, what you did that was scary. Another one is, you cannot find what you do not seek. You cannot grasp what you do not reach, or when you do not reach. Your dreams won't come up to your front door. You have got to take a leap if you want to soar. And that's Cory Booker. And then the place to write in at the bottom says, today I took this leap. I'm going to go one more. Okay. So here's a simple one. It's just because it's there, is the quote. And that's George Mallory on why he wanted to climb Mount Everest. And so that's it, because it was there, it was a challenge, right? And so the prompt is then today I dared to. So I would say that today, what's the one thing that you could do that might be just a little outside of your box and that would be challenging for you? Go into the do one thing every day together. So we'll just open to a random page here, and we're going to memory lane right here, memory lane, and you have two hearts. One person, each person can write their thing, and it says how I felt at our first party as a couple. Right, something you might never really think about, and I honestly would have to think real hard about the first party we ever attended as a couple, and then you write about how you felt, right, and rekindle some of those old things. Another one would be uh, there's 2 days on this page right here, and it says when I trusted you today, and each person gets to write in that. So it brings your focus towards like this feeling of like what I trusted this other person to do or how to support me or to behave, whatever that might have been. This is when I trusted you, and it's bringing mindfulness toward the positive things, right, rather than all the little dumb things we focus on that are negative. And then the next one for the next day is when I revered you today. So what about like what little thing happened today that you revered your partner? Uh, Memory lane again, our first Valentine's Day, talking about what that might have looked like. Um, my favorite way to celebrate Valentine's Day, which is something you might not even talk about, right? One person buys flowers, the other one, whatever. But is that really what we each want? Um, Voltaire, love truth, but pardon error. We could use some of that anywhere, right? I loved this truth you told me today. Could be a small truth, could be a funny truth, could be like whatever, right? I pardoned this error of yours today. Isn't that a hard one to talk about? Because people immediately get defensive. Well, thanks for pardoning me, right? So it opens up a vulnerability conversation about like this is an error you made, and I pardoned you for it. And that's a hard conversation to have because people get so defensive about that. But it's one of those things where you kind of like you just challenge yourself to have it. Um, you could end up with some interesting conversations out of that one. Let's see. Yeah, Westworld is a good show. This season, I don't know. I'm sort of feeling it. I guess it's interesting, but I kind of liked the first season. I thought was probably the best one so far. Amy says 60 plus years old, and I think I must have some degree of ADHD. I can be all over the place and usually put the word focus in today's theme. It's not working yet. It's practice. It's practice. I feel like I was the same way. I always felt like I had some sort of ADHD. But in my own case, I think it was just bad habits. I think I wasn't trained to focus on things. And maybe that can manifest itself in ADHD. I don't know. But I didn't grow up learning to focus. I wasn't required to focus. And I think it was a significant portion of my brain that was just atrophied. And I still struggle with it today. But I think it's practice. Like if somebody says, that like if somebody thinks that they're weak, the easiest way to fix that is to exercise and get strong. And I feel that's the same way with focus, is that it's a muscle that we need to learn to exercise. And understanding there are medical conditions, I think that again still needs, it just illustrates the need to do it more. And we just have to keep trying to go forward. I mean, what's the alternative, right? At least we have each other on social media. Think of quarantines of the past, and I agree. Uh, I think that like the ability to communicate, but it's funny because this week is in particular has gotten really political. So you see people sort of dividing off now on social media. Good morning, Anthony. Um, there are strategies that help. They have been somewhat helpful during the pandemic, but generally they help me a lot. Very cool. Very cool. Stacy. I had to switch more of my planning from looking at just a few months or weeks to more of the 18 to 12 month plan and working backwards. I'm planning as if this is and worse. I'm planning as if this is and worse. And it has reduced my anxiety and feeling out of control. I'm planning our business in the event that we can't open the door to have people physically sitting in our wellness center. And that's probably really smart, right? So there's a lot of ways you can do that. And even when you can open it again, I think people are going to be a little wary. I'm building flexibility in the event that things are better than the worst case scenario. Good. I've been fighting the same fatigue with my ADHD as well. I'm just grateful that my creativity and feeling juiced is coming back. That's awesome. I think it's only coming back because I am preparing for this or something much worse, but grateful to accept this or something better. I'm starting to get that momentum equivalent of let's just clear the deck and look at this as if we're starting from scratch. Very good. Looking at things with fresh eyes is exciting. I have found a newfound courage to embrace the thing that I really don't want to, even if other people think I should. It's a newfound empowerment. I feel so overwhelmed and stagnant, or I felt so overwhelmed and stagnant. Now it's all bets are off. What to do, I want to create, and how to do, I decide I want to move through the next year. Yeah, that's good. Very cool. Amy, you're not. Patty says, Amy, you're not alone. I find myself going from one thing to another and have to tell myself to go back and do what I started. I think it comes with age. Yeah. Pardon each other and yourself. Oftentimes, I'm harder on myself than ever on anyone else. Yeah. So that usually happens. It usually manifests in two ways, right? So sometimes we're harder on ourselves than everybody else, right? And sometimes like that can be flipped in different people where they identify faults in other people because it's also a fault in themselves, and because they don't like it in themselves, they're critical of other people that have the same fault. And it's that like we judge other people by their actions and ourselves by our intentions. So we might intend to get over this thing, but then other people that have the same problem, we slam them for it. But yeah, like so that manifests itself in two different ways, and I think just giving grace to either party is very good. Still working on forming better habits. Absolutely, absolutely. As a child, whenever I did something poorly, my mother would say, "You must need more practice." Right? That's a growth mentality. In a happy, cheerful voice. That's awesome. So it especially never worked to do any chore poorly. I just get to do it until I did it well. And that's good. So, and I've been having to go back with my boys about that now. We're teaching them, especially with my youngest, because his teacher's videos are fairly long and he has a hard time sitting there for a long time. So we're training him that he needs to complete it, but that when he starts to feel anxious or starts to feel antsy and like jumping around, okay, it's time to take a break. Maybe it's time for a snack, and then we get back down to doing it, but we're going to finish it and we're going to do it right. And we've had some things where they didn't do it correctly, and we've had to make them go back and do the work in a proper manner. And it's that ability to be aware and give yourself a break, but also go back and make sure you finish what you started. It's really important. It's a life skill, whether it's now or later. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Very cool. Well, good. So I hope everybody has a great Saturday. Enjoy the nice weather if you're having it. I am looking forward to getting outside and getting my stuff done. I hope everybody has a healthy, happy Saturday, and I will see you again tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock.